This is Marissa, and I will be presenting on plastic production in our environment. I'm first going to go over a brief introduction, and then a little bit of background information, and then we'll take a look at plastic pollution and the effects it has on our land. Then I'll look at plastic pollution and our water, and plastic pollution, our air quality, and then plastic pollution on our animals and their habitats. And then I'll have a little conclusion. So, this presentation will explore the relationship between a few of Earth's elements and the massive increase on plastic waste production. Plastic pollution has been an ongoing problem in our environment, but now, more than ever, the waste is insurmountable. With this presentation, I hope to eloquently explore how this is affecting our Earth and the ways in which they're being dealt with. Background information and waste production. The increasing amounts of plastic production over the last several decades has led to large amounts of waste and pollution on our Earth. Plastic has become so popular due to the fact that it's cheap, versatile, and sterile. Plastic products can be used across a wide range of industries, but the issue is that it is mismanaged. Plastic waste is often not recycled and instead incinerated or sent to various landfills. This affects our air, land, water, and animals negatively. Effects of plastic waste on land. The way that plastic affects land is detrimental. Items that are typically found in places like beaches are things people use every day. Global plastic production has risen from 2 million tons in the 1950s to over 450 million tons today. The issue stems from the waste being mismanaged. Obviously, just the vast amount of plastic being used is the very root of the problem, but the use of plastic today is inevitable. When this plastic is not properly disposed of and then ends up in landfills, beaches, etc., the plastic breaks down, infiltrates the soil, and affects plant growth, and therefore enters our food chain through crops. Effects of plastic waste on land continued. Not only does plastic waste affect places like beaches and forests, but it also affects urban areas. These amounts of plastic pollution can lead to things like blocking drainage systems, which ultimately lead to flooding, erosion that is bad for infrastructure used in these areas. Some researchers say that terrestrial microplastic pollution is much higher than marine microplastic pollution, estimated at 4 to 23 times higher. These large amounts of microplastics quickly come right back around and enter into our food chain, therefore directly affecting humans. The overall effects of plastic pollution on land show how urgent the need for reform of the current disposal system. Effects of plastic waste in the water. Plastic production affects water quality, marine life, food chains, and ocean environments. In the film, A Plastic Ocean, one of the divers says, "You go down, 350, 375 meters, hit bottom, start moving around, and immediately start seeing trash, plastic." This demonstrates the extreme durability that plastic has in the ocean. The ocean currents and wind carry plastic all across the world, delivering it all the way to beach shorelines and even ocean floors. Animals living in these environments mistake plastic for food and consume it. Microplastics are then created when the sunlight, the waves, and the wind break into smaller pieces. Microplastics absorb pollutants like metals and pesticides, which are harmful to humans and ecosystems. Effects of plastic waste in the water continued. Small organisms that are the base of the aquatic food chain accidentally consume microplastics while filtering water or thinking it is food. This is the beginning of the integration of plastic in the food chain. Smaller aquatic animals eat the plankton or even eat the microplastics themselves. Larger animals eat the smaller fish, which build up plastic particles and toxic substances internally in their system. These plastic particles are toxic for sea animals. They can injure their digestive tract and stomach and can cause animals to starve to death. Microplastics have been found inside of coral polyps and stuck to their tentacles. Humans then consume fish and seafood that may contain the microplastics as well as toxic chemicals that were absorbed from plastic. This chain of events weakens biodiversity by interrupting the natural flow of the food web and hurting the environment. Effects of plastic waste on air quality. Plastic harms the air quality through the emissions released during the production process. Almost 40% of plastic waste globally is burned, releasing toxins in the air, leading to increased risk of cardiovascular disease and respiratory ailments, and can also damage the nervous system. The production of burning plastics release large amounts of greenhouse gases like methane, which exacerbates the harmful effects of air quality and climate change. The toxic chemicals released during the burning include nitrogen oxides, sulfur dioxide, volatile organic chemicals, and polycyclic organic matter. Open burning of plastics contribute to major health issues like increased risk of heart disease, respiratory issues, and neurological disorders. Overall, plastic waste has greatly impacted the amount of toxic emissions and polluted air that we have today. Effects of plastic on animals and non-human bodies. Plastic pollution has a large effect on animals as well as other non-human bodies. It affects not only these organisms, but entire ecosystems. A big problem that people today are relatively aware of this entanglement. When any animal becomes entangled in trash and causes harm such as suffocation, injury, drowning, etc., animals are also harmed when they ingest plastic waste, whether they are unknowingly ingesting microplastics through the food chain or mistaking garbage for food. This is incredibly harmful as the animals have stomachs full of garbage which take up space, doesn't allow them to eat other food, and eventually leads to death. This also relates directly back to humans as well, as we eat a lot of these animals. It circles back and immediately harms us as well. So here is a little visual chart. The global plastic production increased from 1950 to 2019. And as you can see, I'll get the pointer, you can see the great increase, and this isn't even up to 2025. So this is just the massive, you can see the massive gap where you can really tell the production increase, which I kind of spoke about before. But yeah, so there's just kind of a little bit of a visual so you can see the large jump and spike almost. Alrighty, so here's my conclusion. In conclusion, plastic pollution is a detrimental threat to the health of our environment. Plastic substantially affects our land, water, air quality, and animals. Plastic is an unescapable product that contaminates our oceans and harms the wildlife by releasing chemicals into the air and water. Because plastic is indestructible once it is produced, it will forever continue to haunt our planet. By raising awareness about plastic pollution, we're able to take more meaningful steps in order to address it. Thank you for watching.